Hello, Sun fans, and welcome to another broadcast every Wednesday at about 3 p.m. We have this broadcast to talk to music and our therapists and to other folks about what they're doing and so many different topics. Today, I'm going to be small like this so you can see our two wonderful guests. They're Jackie and Christine. They are therapists at Cleveland Clinic Children's, and Cleveland is our new partner. So we're going to be talking about the partnership and a bunch of other different things. So thanks for joining.
Thanks for having
us.
For sure. So, yeah, just so people identify you, which one is Jackie, which one is Christine? So Jackie is,
That's
and
me.
she's the art therapist, and then Christine is the music therapist.
Hi there.
Awesome. And again, for anybody who joins, if you have any questions, feel free to drop in the comments and we'll do our best to answer. So yeah, I just thought we could start by talking about just your background. I think people are interested in knowing why you became a therapist, what moved you. So let's start there. Who wants to start?
I can start.
Okay.
Right.
So I originally am from Virginia, and I went to school in order to study music performance, musical theater, and I, discovered that my school had music therapy as a degree program. And in high school, I had read an article about music and the brain, and I just found it so fascinating. And so I really talked to the music therapy program at my college, and as soon as I talked to them, I said, this is the career for me. I get to use something that I love and something that I'm really passionate about to help others. And I have never looked back since.
Awesome.
So I always knew that art was something I wanted to pursue professionally. I guess I just didn't know in which way I wanted to do that. So originally I went to school to be a graphic artist and was taking classes for that, and then kind of realized I didn't want to sit at a computer all day. Like I was kind of missing the social factor and like interacting with people. So I changed my major to undecided and was just taking like art classes, and I was interested in psychology as well. So I started taking classes in that. And then at one of our local community colleges, they had a class called art therapy, and that was something I had never heard of before. So I took a class and instantly knew that that was exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't even realize I was using art like throughout my life to cope. That is my coping skill, and I wanted to be able to share that with others to realize that like you can express yourself through creative medias like art.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. And I think now let's move a little bit to Cleveland Clinic Children's, and then I would be interested to know a little bit of the history of arts therapists at the hospital and kind of what does the program look like now?
So the program now has really grown over the past few years. Right now, over the past 10 years, really. In terms of music therapists at Cleveland Clinic Children's, it's just me, so just one for all 8 inpatient units, and one music therapist, one full-time music therapist for the outpatient hematology oncology unit. So I've been here for 5 years, and the outpatient hematology oncology clinic music therapist was hired in 2016. Worked about 20 hours, but now the position is full time. So that's great.
Awesome. Yeah.
So similar to art therapy, there's an inpatient art therapist and an outpatient art therapist, and I'm the outpatient art therapist. I specifically see hematology oncology clients, but we hope to start seeing other children as well with chronic illness. So we're working on expanding those services here in the infusion center. I've been here for 3 years, but about 2 of those have been in pediatrics, and I became full-time last year.
Yeah, it's really music and art therapy in Cleveland Clinic Children's has really become recognized as a really valued part of the treatment for our patients, and we've really become I think, and what I've heard from some of the staff, is just a valued member of the interdisciplinary team here. So
Yeah.
it's really great.
Right. That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. Now, I actually just thought of this, and I have this question. So have you ever stopped and thought like, oh, how I wish we had X number of therapists, of music therapists, of art therapists. Like I wish we had 20 therapists and then we will be able to cover the whole hospital. Have you ever thought of anything like that?
I'm sure all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome.
What's the magical number? Have you?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Just
Probably at least 2 more, I would say. At least.
Mm-hmm.
Enough to have every patient at Cleveland Clinic Children's be able to utilize the service if they wanted and needed to.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least be ideal to have like another set of hands outpatient and another inpatient.
Yeah.
And in rehab especially, because a lot of our kids will transfer to rehab, like OT, PT, in a different facility entirely, and there's not expressive therapies there right now, so that would be ideal too.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think the bottom line is we need a lot more therapy.
Yes.
Our therapy, music.
Definitely.
Therapy.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's do it. Now, so that's great. Thank you for the background on Cleveland Clinic Children's. Now, another little part that I wanted to talk about, because I think specifically you, Jackie, you mentioned in your biography that you like doing, what is it again?
The plaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So can you explain what plaster handcasts are and how that can be used to building legacy?
Definitely. So what legacy usually is presented when children become terminal, and plaster handcasting is something that I'll offer earlier in treatment than later, because it is a little bit more physically demanding. You have to be like actively participating in it to some extent. But what I usually introduce is for the patient and their family members, whoever they identify. Usually it's mom and dad, to create a 3-dimensional sculpture that is just holding their hands in whatever position that they choose. And it involves me mixing up molding material and putting in a bucket, and then the patient and their family member hold hands and insert their hands into a bucket for 5 full minutes, which sounds quick, but 5 minutes is a long time when you're just sitting in a bucket. So the age has to be appropriate. They have to be able to tolerate like the sensory stimulation that they're getting from the molding material. It's wet, it's cold, it, kind of feels like slime, so like not everybody likes that. So after about 5 minutes, one person removes their hand and then the other. And then on my end, that's when I pour in the plaster and kind of fix it up on my end. So I reveal it the next day. I take it out of the bucket and clean it up and make it look really nice, and then present it a week later to the family. So they're actually left with a tangible keepsake, where you can actually see the fine details in the hands. You can see wrinkles, you can see cuticles, you can see nail polish on the fingers, you can see if it's chipped. You can pretty much see every detail in the hand, and it can be very moving for families to see something so realistic, and have that memory of them doing something together.
Right.
So that's kind of what it involves.
They're beautiful.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember when I was looking through the list of supplies for our event, for the ice cream event that we fundraised for supplies. I looked and I saw there was a lot of buckets of the material that you need for the plaster. So that's when I also got curious. Oh, look, and at the same time, I don't know if you know, but I'm also studying to be a music therapist. So I know about so I know about the music therapy interventions for legacy building, and we've talked here on the broadcast about heartbeat recordings and all that. But it's nice to also hear about the art therapy interventions. Now, still though, for you, Christine, is there like a preferred method that you like to use for legacy building?
I do a lot of the heartbeat recordings. It's really become something that's so wonderful and well known in the music therapy community and also in our hospital. It really just gives an opportunity to the families to have, like Jackie said, that keepsake, and for children that are really young, they may not have had the opportunity to create a lot of memories with their family, so this is just another one that we can create for them. But otherwise, something that I find so just humbling is to be welcomed at the bedside at times, like when they're doing legacy building and at end of life, just to play music to beautify that environment, to be there to support the patient and their families. So in terms of legacy, there's a lot of support through music, through creating memories, and so those are basically kind of where I'm at with legacy. And also we've written a few songs, and that's something that takes a little bit more and maybe more effective with older kids that are able to really put their thoughts and their feelings into words, and to write that song and to record that song, to be able to also have that to hold on to and to give that to their families as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we have a few viewers, so any of you, if you have any questions about music therapy, our therapy, what Jackie and Christine do, please feel free to comment and ask anything you want.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah. And awesome. Well, thank you. Is there anything else? It's not necessarily in the questions that I sent you before, but like anything else that you feel would be nice to share about your profession, about what you do at the hospital, that you think people watching should know?
Well, I also would personally just like to recognize the support from Sam's fans. We are really just really excited to have this partnership going. The support really, it means a lot because it increases the access, it increases the patient access to art and music therapy services, and we're able to continue to provide meaningful and therapeutic work for these kids. So thank you, Sam's fans.
Definitely. And it's so important, especially as an art therapist, to have materials and have new materials. Like a lot of the kids we see are coming back frequently and, can get bored over time of using the material. So having like new innovative stuff is important for treatment as well. Just because the expressive therapies does help kids get through hospitalization.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's great to know. And I think that would also be a good thing to hear to somebody who, for example, donated to like our past. We've been really focused on supplies recently, last year with Giving Tuesday, and then this year with the ice cream party. So thank you for that as well. Yeah. We do have a comment from Denise, who says, "Love the castings."
Yes.
Do you know?
I know who that is.
Okay. Awesome.
Yes, yeah. So I started the castings during my thesis research. And I was very fortunate. I'm very passionate about doing them. It does create a safe space for patients and families to process end of life, and those are very difficult topics to have discussion-wise. And I'm just very fortunate that I'm able to share that here and like bring it here as like an innovative intervention to offer to our patients and families.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
And to even offer, in the hospital setting for patients and their families, it's, when you're in this setting and you're staying in a hospital, you lose so much control over your environment. And, something that our interventions really allow us to do is to give these kids the control that they might feel that they're lacking. So to be able to create a casting, to be able to sing their favorite song if they wanted to, or to play a drum and to just drum it out if they wanted to, just giving these kids the ability to have control over their environment is just something that's really just an amazing thing about having these services at the hospital.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that gives
Awesome.
kids ways to still have a voice, even when they aren't making the decisions most of the time. It still
Right.
gives them control over their treatment.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you. And I think kind of a little bit of our last point over here. Do you think about any stories that you would like to share with us?
Yeah.
Sure. I'll talk about just a quick one that happened not too long ago. It's just a really great story again about just trying to offer patient control over their environment. There's a little one that I see very regularly. Unfortunately, they're in and out of the hospital quite frequently, and so even though they are familiar with the hospital setting, there's still fears, there's still anxieties, particularly for this little one over procedures and like IV placements. And this is normal. This is normal for a child. This is normal for anybody, really. And so over the years working with this patient, they've been able to identify ways that things that are helpful to help get them through these tougher times and these procedures. So the other day, I was present while they were going to place an IV prior to a bigger procedure. So the medical team came in and, we talked about like, okay, here's what's going to happen. And before, during, and after the IV placement, this patient requested to sing her favorite song, which is Happy Birthday.
Okay.
And it was not enough that just me as a music therapist sing this favorite song. She required the entire medical team to sing Happy Birthday before, during, and after the IV placement. And everybody was singing. Everyone sang Happy Birthday. And we just counted down, and the IV was placed without even a flinch. And this patient was just so happy and couldn't believe that her whole medical team was singing this song.
Yeah,
that's
great.
The power of something really simple as a very simple song,
right?
And that control, it just was really
good. I love that. There was just recently a viral video, I think, of a girl who was doing a placement, and then she was singing with her music therapist, and we shared that. So.
Oh, did you see that? Oh, wonderful. That's what I did see one with like a singing nurse too or something.
Yeah.
It's the power of music is, I'm here to tell you about
it.
Yeah,
awesome. So what about our therapy story?
Yes. So recently, this past weekend, I was invited to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society's gala, and they honored two patients that have been treated here. One patient in particular I've been working with very closely for the past year, and she's finally in remission. So that's very exciting in herself. But both of them are being honored as Students of the Year through the LLS gala. And this is probably the first time as a therapist I've heard verbal validation from a patient. And even though we know what we're doing is effective, deep down, we just hope that it is making an impact on the clients we do see. So she got up there and like had her speech and just talked about the aggressive treatment that she went through and how hard it was as a 16-year-old who, is isolated from friends and family and whatnot just because of treatment alone. But just talked about how much art therapy helped her journey, helped her grow as an artist, as a person, and now she wants to pursue a career in art therapy. So that was just very awesome to hear, to make that impact and know that you're making a difference in changing someone's life for the better, with hopes that they then spread that to other people too. Like they see the light and now hopefully they can share that with other people as well.
Definitely. I love that. That's super awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for those stories. I always love this part of the broadcast at the end where we just get to hear the amazing stories of music and art therapy.
And there's so many of them.
Yes.
It's hard to pick one.
For sure. We are actually currently having a campaign. We just released a video last Friday, which was super nice edited, and it was the story of a kid who went through music therapy and still is going through music therapy. And we were releasing one of those for 3 more Fridays.
Awesome.
So for yeah, for anybody watching, be in tune on Fridays. They're pretty nicely edited, so yeah, definitely the stories are out there, and there are so many. So
Definitely.
thank you. And I guess just to kind of conclude here a little bit, unless anybody has any more comments, questions, you can feel free to ask. But just to conclude, I think it would also be nice for anybody watching from our Sam's fans to know just exactly what they have supported with helping us starting this partnership. So just in numbers, how many more hours of music therapy a week, for example, do you guys have at the hospital?
So it provides one more session a week.
Mm-hmm.
One more for each of us. Oh, one more day. I'm sorry.
One more day.
Of sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference.
Right. And one day for three of you. There's three of you, right?
Yes, there will be a fourth soon. The
Oh,
outpatient
okay.
therapist is coming next week. She
Starts next
begins.
Oh, nice.
One more day for each of us.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's tons of hours a year. So again, thank you for anybody watching, for our Sans fans, because ultimately that's thanks to them. So we thank them for this as well.
Sure.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you would like to mention or say?
I just want to say hey to my mom. She was the one who commented about the castings.
Okay, gotcha.
And as a music therapist, I'm looking
Yeah.
for the next Frozen movie coming out.
Oh, right. I didn't know about that. But,
Yes.
yeah. More songs to play.
Of
for
course.
Frozen.
A few more than Let It Go, you know?
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
We look forward to continue working together and hopefully doing more of these types of things together.
Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah. I always love doing these every Wednesday. You can also watch. I'm having somebody from, do you know the Ukulele Kids Club?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do work with the Ukulele Kids Club too, so they are a wonderful, wonderful organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so somebody from the UKC is going to join me next Wednesday.
Awesome. I'll be sure to tune in.
Right, and then I have all kinds of people joining in. So tuning on Wednesdays. And last comment, Frozen is a solid movie from Jake.
Yeah, I love it. I'm ready for number 2.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, thank you for joining, and thanks to everybody watching.
Thanks for
Thanks,
having
and
us.
good luck with your studies too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so bye, Suns fans.
Bye.